Hello, fellow Auraxians. Well, we have tons to catch up on, but there is no time. DirectX 11 drops today. Hopefully you're watching this during the downtime or while you're downloading the patch. And it'll be a big patch, more on that later. Let's jump back a little bit, something I've been meaning to get a video out on. I've just been traveling. This is the test event for DirectX 11. And it was a beautiful disaster. I say beautiful because the performance improvements were impressive. They're not like knock your socks off night and day difference. But whereas previously, even with my pretty beefy setup, on live, if I want to run Ultra, I'll be jumping between 30 to 150 FPS. It kind of hovers around 50, 55 in the big fights. And then in intense action or when you turn fast, all of a sudden you get these massive frame drops, which make it really hard to aim. And to me, it's a big deal if they can improve performance on high settings. You may notice in some of my footage it looks really nice, and in other footage it looks terrible. I try to stick to Ultra as much as I can bear, but it is a massive handicap for your aim. If I want to play and not be concerned about collecting footage, I will usually turn my settings down on the live servers. And normally I just don't collect those clips, but sometimes I do get good clips. I want to share them, so you'll see the poor quality footage sometimes. I apologize for that, but it gets pretty frustrating playing on Ultra all the time because it is a severe handicap to what you can do with your aim in game. So in terms of performance, the DirectX 11 test was pretty darn good. In terms of everything else, the test was a complete and utter clusterfuck. Some of that was due to bugs and instability, but the reality is most of the problems with the test event didn't really stem from the DirectX 11 upgrade. It felt like it more stemmed just from what the test server was. Almost 2,000 people tried to log into the test event. It never felt like we had more than 600 or 700 people online. The map never felt very full. And obviously that's less than the live servers, but I don't think the test server is set up for those quantities of people. So the login was a disaster, and we were dealing with lots of instability as a result of so many people trying to participate, trying to make the game better. Which, good on you, PlanetSide community. I appreciate all of you that had patience with it. Awesome job showing up and being ready to test, because that's what PlanetSide needs more than anything. And then the next problem with the test server is bounties. Everyone can place bounties for basically nothing. And if you know how to do it, you can place hundreds at a time. So that means people on the test server are running around with thousands of bounties. You can see I have over 6,000 here. I think someone made it up to 20,000. And killing someone with over 1,000 bounties on them generally was a one-way ticket to your desktop. So the tough thing about the test event is to figure out, well, what's the issue with the patch and what's the problem with just the nature of the test server? So those innate problems with the test server aside, there was still a lot of work to be done before everything was ready. A lot of just pieces of weapons misaligned, knives spinning around, aircraft carcasses laying around, on and on. A lot of just these tiny little bugs. And some awesome people on Reddit, spearheaded by one guy, compiled a list of all these bugs to really help track them so that we could get through them and get them all tackled. Now, as of making this, the night before the patch is going to go live, on the test server, these things are not all fixed. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot, though. They've probably been working internally and just never pushed the release build to the test servers. So we're going to hope, keep your fingers crossed, that they've been able to tackle all the bugs that the community was able to track down in that live build that is going to be pushed today. Hopefully it is being patched in as you're watching this. But even if they did tackle all those things on the list, history tells us patch days are rough. Brace yourselves, guys. I really wish they would do something like say, hey, we just released the DirectX 11 ops, PlanetSide 2 is in beta for the next 3 weeks. It's pretty rare to get a patch on PlanetSide 2 that isn't rough around the edges. But at the same time, it is really difficult to compare the results from the test server apples to apples with the live server. There's just things that are different about the environments. For starters, you don't have 2,000 people trying to log into the live server at the same time. Well, ideally, with this release of DirectX 11 and the NS operatives, hopefully we do have 2,000 people trying to log in at the same time. And hopefully they've made sure that the live servers are prepared for that to happen, because the test server sure is not. So, if you've been waiting for this moment, the upgrade to DirectX 11 as your jumping in point, please just be patient for the first few weeks. I will be bringing updates on how the deployment goes. If you don't want to have to deal with it until all the kinks are worked out, good, just chill and I'll let you know when it's been stabilized. But if you have been looking for that jump in point in PlanetSide 2, this is the best one, probably the last one you're ever going to get. PlanetSide will be in the best place it's been for performance in a long time, and performance tends to not get better, it tends to slip over time. So if that's your major concern, it'd be good to jump in and get that performance while it's fresh. Also, we can expect a big influx of players and more people playing at different times of the day. Right now, one of the problems is if you want to fight, you basically got to be on at prime time, and if for whatever reason your hours are different, it's tough to find good fights. With this patch, there'll be more people in general, all times of the day, bigger prime times. It'll be a great time to get back into the game, or start if you've been looking for that point. Next big thing coming out with this patch is the NS operatives. I kind of view them as Prestige 2.0, so we had the ASP system. And now if you want to level another character to 100 or even ASP 100, you can start an NS robot. Everyone will be getting an extra character slot, so do not worry if you've already used your character slots. You do not have to delete one to start an NS character. But to access these robots, you do have to be a member, so they may not be for everyone. If you don't want to be a member, but you do like the look of the robots, Doku has released some cosmetics that will give you the look and feel of the robots on your existing characters. This is one of the directive weapons that was unfinished as of the test. I hopped on to check it out the night before DirectX 11 hits, and it was completed at that time. I did not thoroughly check to make sure there are no bugs with it. The spawn system revamp is also coming out with this patch. It was in effect on the test server, but the test server took place entirely at the Ascent. For most of the event, we were restricted to the 3-lane stabilizing continents map. So I have no idea how the new spawn system will actually play out. It is different than the conceptual work-in-progress design document Rel released a while back. The battle flow, and obviously the spawn system is a big part of that, is a big deal to me. So I want to dive in. I want to see how that plays out more. The strategy seems like it's always been more freedom. And in a sense, that is good. It's a better user experience when you can go where you want on the map, obviously. But that also breaks down the battle flow even further when everyone can basically go wherever they want at a moment's notice. So I'm going to watch it carefully, watch it play out in live, and I will get back to you and do a video long overdue on the spawn system with these changes, where it needs to go, and let you know how it's working out on the live servers. Coming out with this patch, we also have the Refuel and Refine alert. We did try to playtest this alert during the test event. Unfortunately, the server crashed and the alert broke when that happened. And the alert was already in a sort of state of disrepair. So again, we didn't get enough information from the test server event to know how these alerts are going to play out. But I guess we'll just roll with it on live. My one big fear with these alerts, I was really excited. I had an alert in mind that was basically the Araxium orbital launch alert. That'll cover in the future. This is a very similar concept. Mine was just a little more complex, obviously a lot more work. My fear with this one is the snowball effect. Just like with aerial anomalies, what tends to happen is one faction gets out ahead and everyone else is like, why bother? It's not fun to try to get into the aerial anomaly alerts after you're so far behind, And it's not fun to be winning the aerial anomaly alerts, but have no one challenging you. The initial look at this alert shows like it may play out the same way, where if you dominate the first 5 minutes of the alert, everyone else is going to say F it and just go back to playing PlanetSide regular. This has potential to create a lot of awesome vehicle battles, so I expect, especially the first 2 weeks, that it's going to do a lot of good. We're going to get a lot of good fights from it, and then as it kind of gets old hat, I don't know if it's a real sustainable alert type. We will all know how it plays out very soon. So guys, the quick version is DirectX 11 is going out now, as long as you're watching this video near its release time. We did have one official announced scheduled playtest and one spur of the moment playtest, where initial results were good, but it looked like there was still a lot of work to iron out all the bugs. Checking tests just before the release of this video, a lot of them had been squashed, but there were still a few lingering. What will be deployed to the live server has probably branched from what's on the test server at this point though. Just be prepared for some rough days after the patch hits while it all gets stabilized. An extra alert, the NS operatives and the spawn system revamp are also hitting with this patch, and I'll be bringing you more updates on those as they play out. Final thing guys, this will be a big download. They are redoing how the assets are packaged, so you'll have to re-download all of those. I do recommend you go in your PlanetSide directory at the top level and find your user options and your user input files. Copy those files and make a backup if you have messed with your settings or your controls at all. Some of these big patches have wiped those files out for people in the past, and it's nice to not have to redo all that work. Okay guys, that's all for now. Happy patch day. May God be with us all. And until next time, I will see you PlanetSide.